Hi, welcome to Novel Narratives. I would start off by setting the context. Mossad is the agency of the Israeli government which is responsible for covert operations, intelligence collection, and counterterrorism. If you visit their website, their mission and vision is very clear. They say, see the invisible and do the impossible. If you go back in history and examine the history of the Jewish people, from times immemorial, they have been subject to a lot of persecution and violence. If you go back during the times of the Egyptian Pharaohs and Moses, or even the last century, during the time of the Nazis, Hitler, and their final solution of extermination of Jews across Europe, or even earlier this year in the month of August, where Hamas undertook a genocide against the Jews. So there are lots and lots of such instances of victimization and violence. In fact, even when the state of Israel was formed, it was a very big eyesore for all its Arab neighbors. They could never ever accept Israel as an independent sovereign neighbor of theirs. And it is in the backdrop of this history that one needs to examine the role of Mossad, an agency which is responsible for protecting the rights of Israel or protecting the interests of Israel. In fact, Mossad goes a step beyond. It not just protects the rights of Israel and its people, it protects the interests of Jews anywhere and everywhere in the world. This book, called Mossad, examines the top 21 most daring operations of this agency. Ever since its inception in 1949, this agency has been recognized as one of the top most intelligence agencies worldwide. Michael Bar-Zohar, one of the co-authors, has served in 4 Arab-Israeli wars and has also served in the Israeli parliament. The opening dedication from Michael reads as follows, and I will read it out aloud for you. It says, "For heroes unsung, for battles untold, for books unwritten, for secrets unspoken, and for a dream of peace, never abandoned, never forgotten." Now, depending on your style of reading, because different readers have different styles of reading, you may want to read this book, which is about 380 pages, in a single go. Or if you are a leisurely reader who wants to multitask in between, you can take up each of these 21 chapters individually. If you ask me, each of these 21 chapters is a gem in itself. The operations are nothing short of legendary, and the reader will be greatly enriched. Many of these operations have been successfully adapted in Hollywood movies or on OTT as web series. Tehran, the Red Sea diving resort, 7 Days in Entebbe, The Spy, these are a few examples. Of course, there are many, many more. Not all of these operations have spectacular success. Chapter 9, Our Man in Damascus, talks about an Israeli spy who manages to infiltrate the very top power circles of Syria, and from there he is able to provide lots of classified information to Israel, which proves to be very beneficial for Israel. However, over a period of time, he is discovered by the Syrian intelligence, the Mukhbarat, and then he is captured, a trial is conducted, and he is executed. His lifeless body is left hanging at the gallows of Damascus for 6 hours, and even till date, the mortal remains of this spy have never been returned to Israel or to his family. In all these operations, the underlying theme is very clear. The message for the agency is very clear. Any threat to Israel or to Jews anywhere in the world has to be neutralized or eliminated at any cost. Many of these operatives of Mossad have shifted to Israel from different parts of the world. And over there, either they or their families have been subjected to a lot of persecution and violence. And in their heart of hearts, they are very clear. They would not want history to be repeated unto themselves or to near and dear ones. Selecting a few favorites out of these 21 operations is a difficult task, but I will still attempt to do so.
Bring Eichmann Back, Dead or Alive, Chapter 6, talks about Adolf Eichmann, a very senior ex-Nazi officer who has escaped to Argentina after the World War and is living in hiding. In this operation, Mossad locates him, identifies him, captures him, gets him back to Israel, all in secrecy. A trial is conducted and he is executed for his wartime sins. Chapter 12, The Quest for the Red Prince, talks about an organization called Black September, which is nothing but an extended arm of the PLO with the silent blessings of Yasser Arafat. This organization was responsible for the abduction and killing of Israeli athletes during the Munich Olympics. After this horrific incident, Mossad decided to go after this organization. One by one, each and every member of the leadership of Black September was identified and eliminated across various cities in the world. The crowning glory of this operation was conducted in Beirut, where one of their topmost leaders, Ali Hassan Salameh, also known as the Red Prince, an individual who was supposed to be very close to Yasser Arafat, possibly an heir apparent to Yasser. He was identified and eliminated. This entire process took over a period of 7 years, but Mossad never gave up, and one by one, all the perpetrators of the crime were eliminated. Chapter 19, Love and Death in the Afternoon, talks about another very senior leader, this time of Hezbollah, who was located in Damascus and eliminated. Among all these chapters, possibly the most humane operation is chapter 21. There is a particular group of black Jews who are living in pockets of Ethiopia and Sudan. Over a period of generations, this community of black Jews are living in extreme poverty and are subjected to horrific oppression. They are just clinging on to their Jewish faith by a string of hope. Under Operation Moses and Operation Solomon, approximately 25,000 of these black Jews are identified and airlifted back to Israel between 1984 and 1991. A written review from my side is also available on Goodreads, and I have provided a link in the description box. Before I sign off, and I have shared with you lots of instances of glory, courage, planning, commitment to the cause, but the humane aspect is also very well captured by the author. And I would like to share something from page number 87. It is possibly the most heart-touching part of this book. Zvi Malkin is a part of the team which went and nabbed Eichmann and got him back to Israel for the trial. Zvi's background is such that his entire extended family, including his sister Fruma and her small children, were killed in the concentration camps by the Nazis. And in a way, Eichmann was responsible for the killings of his family members. So after the execution of Eichmann, there is a small conversation between Zvi and his aged dying mother, and I would read it aloud for you. Eichmann's body was incinerated in an aluminium oven in the prison courtyard. Black smoke rose towards the sky, wrote an American reporter. No one said a word, but it was impossible not to recall the crematoriums of Auschwitz. Shortly before dawn, on June 1st, 1962, a swift boat of Israel's Coast Guard passed beyond Israel's territorial waters. The engine was turned off, and while the boat drifted silently, a police officer cast Eichmann's ashes into the Mediterranean. The wind and waves dispersed the remains of the man who 20 years earlier had merrily declared, "I'll jump laughing into the grave, happy at having exterminated 6 million Jews." At the deathbed of his mother, Zvi Malkin thought of his massacred relatives, of his sister Fruma, and her small children perished in the Holocaust. He bent forward to his mother and whispered to her, "Mother, I got Eichmann. Fruma is avenged." "I knew you wouldn't forget your sister," the dying woman whispered. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot for staying tuned to Novel Narratives. We'll be back soon with lots more. Bye.